Welcome to Motorland, a podcast driven by AAA. We're bringing you behind-the-scenes stories from some of America's great road trip destinations. I'm Jared DeEnda, the voice of motorsports and auto events all around the world, and your wheelman here in Motorland.
And I'm Michelle Donati from AAA, the brand members trust to help them with their travel planning. Everything from cruise and overseas vacations to treks around the state and across the country.
You know, I travel a lot for work, right?
I travel a little bit for work, but nowhere near as much as you do, Jared.
What's your favorite place to travel for work, Michelle?
I travel a lot for work to the Bay Area. And I mean, there's just so many cool places there, from in the city to outside the city. There's just always something new to explore. What about you, Jared? Is there some place you travel regularly for work that you look forward to visiting?
Yeah, I guess New York. And our guest today, Ruby Lerner, lives in New York, and she just celebrated the release of her archives and website, rubylerner.com, where you can find her articles, speeches, college lectures, and commencement addresses, you name it.
She is so incredibly respected in the art community.
All right, then, let's buckle up and ride. Ruby Lerner, thank you so much for joining us here in Motorland.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be with you today. It was so much fun to get to think about all the places I've been where art is kind of central.
So, art and philanthropy, in layman's terms, what is that?
Well, I have had the privilege really of running several regional and national arts organizations. And the last organization particularly that I ran, Creative Capital, really taught artists business skills so that they would be able to thrive. Many of them have gone on to have big international art careers. And so it's really great to be able to sort of see the fruits of your labor. And like you, I've gotten to travel a lot over these 4 decades. And I've gotten to meet with artists all over the country. And they're also wonderful and very gracious. And there's nothing they love better than telling you about their hometowns or what's interesting in the area they live in. And so often I got to visit places I wouldn't have known anything about through them.
So you talk about traveling. This is Motorland. Let's get in that car and ride. Let's talk about some of the places you've gone to enjoy the art, meet the artists. Elaborate here.
You know, if you're going to New York, if you're going to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, you have so many options. It's kind of easy to get overwhelmed. If you're coming to New York City, of course, there are wonderful places like the Metropolitan, the Museum of Modern Art. But I got to tell you that in New York, one of my absolute favorite places is the Morgan Library, which was the former library of the industrialist J. Pierpont Morgan. This is a place that a lot of people don't know about. The library itself is absolutely stunning. It's floor-to-ceiling books. And the architecture is so beautiful, but they've built a modern extension around the original house. And so there they do these incredible exhibitions, and it's unexpected stuff. A few years ago, I saw an amazing exhibition of the life and legacy of Woody Guthrie. I was not prepared to see that in a major museum in New York, and the show was so great. So the Morgan Library, if you're coming to New York, it's right in the middle of Manhattan, close to Grand Central. So that's something just to keep on your list. But let's go a little bit beyond just the sort of traditional. There are smaller cities and towns too. I wanted to start by talking about Louisville, Kentucky. There's a great boutique hotel chain called the 21C Museum Hotels.
Oh, love it.
The first time I went to the 21C, which was many, many years ago, before this idea of museum hotels was more common, I didn't know where I was. I walked in the door. I thought the registration desk for the hotel was where you paid to go into the museum. And somebody said, no, it's completely free. And it's available and open 24 hours a day. It's the most wonderful experience. And the shows there are very, very challenging. We should also just point out that they now are in, I think, 7 or 8 other cities. I know that soon they're going to open in St. Louis. They're in Chicago. I think they're Oklahoma City.
Wow.
I've stayed at the Cincinnati Hotel. I've stayed at the hotel in Durham, North Carolina. You can walk around the hotel with your mint julep and look at art at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, what a great thing.
I know that we're talking more about off the beaten path, but in terms of art towns, I think I've heard of a few of these in Arizona. And I know we have a lot of listeners there, so I'd love to hear you talk about those.
Have you ever been to Jerome?
I haven't, but I heard it's haunted
Yes.
as well.
It was a copper mining town, and then it became sort of a ghost town for a number of years. But leave it to artists. Artists came in and settled in Jerome, and now it's sort of officially an art town. I did do a little stop there for lunch and for wandering around the town on one of my trips.
My gosh.
But if you go to Tucson, at the University of Arizona, there's the Center for Creative Photography, which was founded by Ansel Adams. And
Oh, wow.
and now it houses something like 270 archival collections, and they have something like 8 million. Imagine 8 million archival objects related to photography. It's almost overwhelming to think about. But that is a sort of a very famous place for anyone who loves photography. If you're in Arizona, you will want to stop there.
There's a city that I know we're going to talk about. A destination that is great is Park City and Sundance Film Festival.
Park City, the Sundance Film Festival. Yeah, I went there for many years during snowy January. Which,
Oof.
Honestly, if you're not a skier, it's not the most fun.
No,
not the most fun to be there. But I'll say a few words about the Sundance Film Festival. I mean, it's the granddaddy of film festivals, and it is a wonderful destination. I mean, I was in the bathroom line behind Sally Field one year that I went, and we had a conversation about why don't they make more stalls for the women's bathrooms,
Wow.
right? Anyway, so, you will see great people there and you'll see great movies. And so it is a wonderful place to go. So a few tips. Park City it's a small place. And then in January, it's sort of bursting at the seams and it's gotten expensive. If you're feeling really flush, I would say go hang out at the Sundance Resort. You might catch a glimpse of Robert Redford, which I got to do one time. I was a judge for the Short Film Festival and we did the judging out there. But I would also recommend just going to Salt Lake City. They're showing more and more films in Salt Lake now. And of course, there are a lot more lodging options and it's not quite as expensive. So that's just a little travel tip there.
So we talk about road trips. This is Motorland. You're hitting the road. A lot of people are using cars as art. What is that genre called when you're utilizing something, kind of modifying these things? Carhenge. I remember that installation in California, but what's that called?
I'm thinking of a wonderful place, and I don't know if you've been there. It's near Amarillo, Texas. I have been to Cadillac Ranch.
I have been there.
10 Cadillacs, right? Fins up, right?
So it's kind of a living piece of art. So here's these machines that have now parked forever, but people modify them. So they're kind of part of it.
Yeah, they really are part of the landscape. I'll just tell you about a wonderful artist who's actually up, I think he's still up in Bakersfield, that we funded at Creative Capital. He goes to junkyards, basically, and he finds vehicles that have been in car crashes.
Yeah.
And he puts them together and crashes them again.
You're talking about Louisville earlier. There's a bar there, or a restaurant called Garage Bar.
Yep.
And there's two cars that crash into each other progressively.
That's right.
And it happens over time. So they slowly ratchet it up.
That's exactly right.
Hey, look at that.
That's so cool.
Who knew I was so cultured, Michelle?
Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you, when you retire from the track, you can go teach art history. How about that?
I'll try. Ruby, I was born in the Bay Area. I visited a lot of the museums, but you're going to San Francisco. What are some of kind of the off the beaten path places to see art in San Francisco, in the Bay Area?
Well, I think a lot of people, of course, do know about the arts institutions there, and they're great. San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, the De Young, all of those sort of bigger institutions. But I think what people might not know about is how many amazing art galleries there are, commercial art galleries. Oh my gosh. San Francisco has so many great places, and the artists that are supported by places like the Catherine Clark Gallery, they're incredible contemporary artists. And if you go over to Berkeley, the Berkeley Art Museum is also worth knowing about. The Oakland Art Museum is worth knowing about. So those are just a little outside the central core of San Francisco.
Ruby, we are not worthy of you. And you're just obviously a very cool woman. You hang out with all the cool kids in all the cool places. Kind of the opposite of me. I don't know. Jared's pretty cool, but it's kind of the opposite of me.
No, I mean, I think we're all cool in our own different ways. Again, just you can hear in Ruby's voice her enthusiasm for artwork and creativity.
Well, I have a secret theory that
What's that?
That Silicon Valley happened where it happened because of this sort of incredibly creative, energetic, free, committed to free expression area.
Yep.
If you were a young person growing up in that area, that has to have had an impact on you, right? And your sense of endless creativity, endless opportunity to be creative. So that's my secret theory of Silicon Valley.
Well, it's not secret anymore, Ruby. Thanks for sharing with everybody. So again,
We won't tell anyone, Ruby.
no, nobody. Ruby Lerner, thanks for sharing so much we didn't know about cool places to visit here in Motorland.
What a joy to be with you today. And I would say your appreciation of the arts is pretty impressive too. So thank you for that.
Man, I feel so cultured now, and I love art, as you know, Michelle. How about you?
Yes, folks, don't let the dad jokes fool you. Jared is quite the well-traveled intellectual, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be a curator.
I'm going to be one of those people that stands in front of the artwork and tells you, I don't know, but...
A curator outside of a tattoo shop?
Yeah. Eat local, drink local, get tattooed local. It's all about travel here on Motorland. So, Michelle, thank you so much. And big thanks to our sponsor, AAA, for keeping us on the road.
And don't forget, members can use the AAA mobile app to access their member benefits, including the ability to request roadside assistance.
Love it. My son used it the other day. I got a flat, and his particular vehicle doesn't have a spare tire. So thanks, AAA.
Many vehicles don't, so glad we could help.
See? Hey, if you don't know how to click on the subscribe or follow button on your podcast app, call AAA. They'll be right out there to help you. That's important because we want you on board with us every time we go for a spin here in Motorland.
Hello, take me anywhere.
Motorland is produced by AAA Mountain West Group in cooperation with Sound That Brands. Hello, Take Me Anywhere, written by Justin Sullivan. Performed by Night Shop, by arrangement with Terror Bird Media. Thank you so much for listening. If you like it here in Motorland, please give us a rating and review, and share it with all your friends. I'm Jared DeAnda. May the road rise to meet you and the wind be at your back. We'll see you again soon in Motorland.